Hi, and welcome back to Cloud Native Go. My name is Leander Reimer, and I'm very happy to be your host in this section on Simple Go microservices. So this is what we're going to take a look at in this section. First, we'll implement a simple HTTP server in Go. Next on, we'll be having a look at how to marshal Go structs to and from JSON. And finally, we will implement a very simple REST API in Go. So let's get started then. Simple HTTP server in Go. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how we can use the Go language and the net HTTP package to implement and start a very simple HTTP server. And then we're going to define simple handler functions that will respond to specific GET requests on our HTTP server. So let's switch to code then. So I have my IDE here, and what we do now is first of all, we will be using the net HTTP package, and we need to import it first. So that's done, net HTTP. And to start our HTTP server, we only need one line of code. So we will call the listen and serve method on the HTTP. And we will pass it the first parameter, which basically specifies the port and the address to listen on. So this is port 8080. So of course, this server doesn't do a lot at the moment. So of course we wanted to respond to GET requests. And this is what we're going to add next. So what we've done now is we added a handler function to respond to the index path, and we specified a method reference here, which is called index. So next we need to implement this function, which is called index. And this handle function is going to take two parameters. The first parameter is of type response writer, and this is basically the construct we use to respond content to our client. The second parameter is a pointer to the HTTP request we received. So let's do something useful here. So we will respond with HTTP status code OK, which is basically HTTP 200. And then we will write something back to the response writer. And this is basically the body of the HTTP response we were writing. So let's save that, go to our console, and compile everything. So you see here, we compiled a neat small executable called Cloud Native Go. And let's call this one. So this one's running now. And let's switch back to our REST client. And let's issue a GET request on localhost port 8080. And hooray, here we go. Hello, Cloud Native Go. That's the expected response. Now, it's good practice for cloud-native applications to have, well, some environment variables that specify certain behavior. So what we want to do now is to extract our port parameter and make it configurable. So what we do, we specify a port function, and we will use this port function here instead of the statically defined port 8080. Now the question is, how are we going to implement this port function? So let's have a look at this code. First of all, we will get the environment variable port. If we haven't specified it, we will fall back to port 8080 as default, and then we're going to return this as a string. So let's save, go back to our console, and compile everything again. So next thing, we will define the environment variable port and maybe use 9090 as the new port value. And next up, we will call our small HTTP server again. So let's see how this changed the behavior of our HTTP server. So we go here, and now we will call the HTTP server on localhost port 9090. Again, we'll issue the GET request, and hooray, we have here hello Cloud Native Go as the response. So let's go back to our code once again and implement something even more useful. And finally, I want to show you how we can implement a very basic echo functionality. So once again, we define a handle func which responds to API echo, a function which is called echo. So this is what we do now. Now the good question is, how are we going to implement this one? Well, first of all, what we need to do is extract the message query parameter from our URL. And this is what this line will do. Okay? We will use the request, the URL, and we have the query, and then we extract the first message parameter. And all we need to do then, we add the header for the content type text plain, and we will echo the message we received. So once again, we save this, go back to our console, we reset the port to 8080, and we call our HTTP server again. So we go back to our REST client, and I've prepared this GET request here for our echo API. So we say localhost 8080 API echo with a message of Cloud Native Go. So let's send this one. And hooray! This is our echo response. And if we take a look at the headers, you see here that the content type is of text plain and the status code is 200.